Okay. Who? Dan double U. Let's go. Ow, wow, listen right now. Everybody knows the man that says pow. Start the show, gonna talk some toys. This is for the grown-up girls and boys making noise. Let's start the show. Talking Marvel Legends and the money that we blow. Honestly, look, there ain't no stopping me. Turtles and Joes too, let's do this properly. Need to buy more toys, don't tell my bank. Wasn't me, promise it was Hellfire Hank. Whole Who crew, look, they made me do it. If it lands in my door, then I best review it. Screw it, I don't usually boast, but I got Rich M, he's here to host. Raise a toast and raise some ducks. This isn't your average show, we're deluxe. Pow, and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And how are we doing? Happy Thursday to everybody. We are back for episode 191 of the Dan Who weekly live stream, where we recap the week that was in the world of Marvel Legends and everything in between. So today is a special day. As you will tell by the thumbnail, we have Dan Yoon joining us. But I do want to just say this up front. He's not joining us until 10 p.m, which is 5 Eastern, okay? So if you're watching this on the replay, in about 45 minutes, you'll see Dan Yoon, all right? So bear with us, but Dan Yoon will be joining us for the second part of the stream to talk all things Marvel Legends, especially the 85th anniversary line. So let's just warm up until Dan gets here, all right? Watch the numbers just drop now I announce that. But let's just warm up before we get here. And sweet Garden Gates, people, I'm not on my own. So Rich sent his apologies. He cannot be here this week, but don't you worry. The super sub is here. It is, of course, Jay's Toy Collection UK. Jay, how you doing?
Pow, welcome back to the channel. Yes, I am not Rich M. He is enjoying the sound of the underground at a Girls Aloud concert. So you're stuck with me between a Dan sandwich when Dan Yoon gets here as well. But I'm all good.
Yeah, no, as I said, Rich said he couldn't make it. I was like, don't worry, I know the man to call, and he always is here, so I appreciate it. So hello chat, how are we doing? As I said, me and Jay are going to be chatting Marvel Legends for the first 45 minutes, and then Dan Yoon will be joining us for the second part of the stream. So if you're here just for Dan Yoon, then I'll see you in 45 minutes, I guess. Everybody else, you can feel free to stick around and talk some toys with us, as there is a little bit of Marvel Legend news, as always. And you know me, I always try my best to dig out some nuggets when we get these opportunities. So, again, you never know what we might find out in today's stream. But let's start off how we always start off with the housekeeping, people. It is, of course, the Dan Who live stream. Every single Thursday we go live, recap the week that is in Marvel Legends. Then every other Sunday, for my channel members showing love to the channel, we do Legends and Liquor, where we talk about our pickups, the toy news, and race some ducks. It's always a good time. And it's this Sunday, by the way, people. So if you want to be a part of Legends and Liquor this week, then please do start hitting me up with those fresh DMs, as on Sunday the 19th of May, Legends and Liquor returns in its regular scheduled spot. We'll be racing ducks, talking toys, all the same. Start hitting me up with those DMs on Instagram if you want to be a part of that show this coming Sunday. All right, you know who you are. I appreciate you all. Always nice to add fresh faces as well. Shout out Tanner from Turtles and Tea, and shout out Tom and Mark and Joe's and Juice. Those shows will absolutely be back soon. I think GR Joe June is on its way, so yeah, always stuff to talk about. What else we got going on? So of course, if you want to contribute to today's show, then please, anything over £4 or $4 via the super chat. Friday, our talking robot assistant will talk it out. Is that even a word? She will read it out. I might have to turn it off when Dan comes in, just so we don't rudely interrupt, but it is on for the time being, so that's probably the best way to get any questions in. Anything over £4 or $4 goes towards contributing to the channel. I appreciate that. And if you want to take it one step further, become a channel member, and that is your gateway into the channel. You become a channel member, you get to be on the channel. It's as simple as that. I do want to apologise, no bonus show this week, as we are a little bit later than usual to accommodate Mr. Dan Yoon, but it's fine. Legend and Liquor this week, I'm sure you'll forgive me. So no after show this week. But we do have a very special guest, so all is good. Also, I will be at MCM this next weekend, or I was about to say this month, but yeah, the 24th to the 26th at the XL Centre. In-Demand Toys are officially partnering up with Hasbro UK. That is partly the reason Dan is coming on today to discuss some of the things that will be shown off at the event. Our friend of the channel, Brandon's making all that happen for the UK community. So yeah, brand new, first time seen in hand Marvel Legends will be on display in London next weekend from the 24th to the 26th at the In-Demand Toys booth. If you have been buying collectibles, especially Marvel Legends in the UK for many years now, I'm sure you have picked up something from In-Demand Toys. Good people. I think there's literally an in-store video on my channel. I think what do we call it? Articulated Adventures or something like that, right?
You did indeed. Yeah. Articulated Adventures with very fancy camera work, if I do remember.
Yeah, that's Brandon and Arthur, his mate. So yeah, shout out those two. But right, until then, it's just me and Jay, but there is a bit of toy news. So we'll say hello to the chat first, as the chat's always lively, which I appreciate. It is a Thursday. It's a random time to go live. I get it, but this is the compromise that me and the missus made 4 years ago, or however long it is. Crazy times. She's in bed now watching some weird Bridgerton stuff. I can't even remember. It looked old fashioned, whatever it was. Mark Tac says, welcome Dan Yoon. I'll pass that on to him when he gets here. Damien says, afternoon, evening, all on the sunny days. Is it sunny? To be fair, my curtains are always drawn because I'm scared of like sun damage with my figures, so I don't know.
It has been warm here. It has been definitely warm here, and I've blocked the window, as you know, so it's got a bit too hot in here. Yeah,
same. I'm not interested in daylight. Keep my figures safe. Tyler's in the chat. He says, please ask Dan for Mandarin. You don't need to ask Dan for Mandarin. Mr. J's Toy Collection UK has a Mandarin.
I'm propped up. I am ready to go on that one.
Do
not panic.
He's got it. Panic. Yeah, we've got that one sorted. Don't you worry, Tyler. Who else we got? The Wolfpack says, ask Dan Yoon to blink if they're working on a Werewolf by Night figure. It's weird how Werewolf by Night was like 2 years ago. And yeah, no Werewolf by Night figures at all so far. Not even a man thing. However, if you listen to the rectangular rumours, maybe. Robert says, he's talking about Werewolf by Night. Mike X is there. Andy B says, Dan, I'm curious whether Golden Age versus Western characters are on their radar screen. Also, are there any characters that Marvel aren't allowed to do? Well, maybe we could ask that question a little bit later. I can get these questions in for Dan a little bit later because I'm going to forget otherwise. We got Carl.
Pen and paper out.
Oh yeah, there you go. See what I mean? He is the super co-host. He's got the notes out ready. Kevin says, boom, hey all. Been exciting stream tonight with my fellow Arsenal Dan Yoon. Fellow Gooner, if you will. Robert Kurt K sending positive vibes to Kurt K. Get well soon, my friend. I know he's had some bad health of late, but we are sending positive vibes across the pond. Hopefully he's going to have a drink in hand very, very soon. Figure Cave Collectibles is our friend Adam Batman Moran. Craig's Nostalgic Collection. Together now, Jay. Don't forget the dots.
The dots.
Yeah, we'll work on it, Jay. It's fine. We'll work on it. It's still new. Craig's not even using it yet. Jellyfigs, Justin collects. Gary, your boy's got toys. Sex Cauldron. I thought they would close that place down. That's a Simpsons reference. I like it. I have brought all of these, Jay. I did go. I just went and brought them all. I brought them all. What can I say?
You did. There's you might have a few more Simpsons arriving soon as well.
Yeah. This weekend, I suppose. RP Joe. Disavowed action figures. Jamie of the X-Men fan. Will there be Marvel Legends revealed this stream? No Marvel Legends will be revealed this stream, but there will be Marvel Legends revealed in the next 7 days. I'm pretty confident of that. Compulsive Collectors in the chat. Cheeky Monkey Kiara, I've heard of her. She in the house?
Yeah, she is in the house. She's just given me a fresh haircut. And she's now, I think, probably having her dinner while she ignores us.
Sending love. Start over click. Shelley's in the chat. Jamie, Jason Lopez, the retweeting king. Mini Plastic Multiverse says, looking forward to this one. Paul McCarthy says, kapow. Hello, Dan. Looking forward to this one. And there's Dominic Smith with the first super chat of the evening. I appreciate that.
Dominic Smith donated $9.99. Could you ask Dan if the team ever has trouble choosing what figures to go back and make after new media comes out? X-Men 97, new comics, Spider-Man 2 game, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, etc.
It's a fair question. Again, I'll take some notes as we go and see if we get time to ask Dan some of this stuff. Again, today, I don't want today to be a bombardment of just question. I'd like to just, you know what I'm like, I like to have a conversation. But yes, I think of course, X-Men will be spoken about, and I guess that was what spurred that original question on. So thank you very much, Dominic, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Right, let's get into some actual little bit of news then, Jay. So shout out the chat, everyone involved this evening. As I said, if you're just joining us now, Dan Yoon will be joining us at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're in the UK, that's 10 p.m. That's why we've started a little bit later today to accommodate Dan being a guest for the second part of the stream. If you're on the replay crew, in about 40 minutes, all right? Just skip forward until you see Dan's face. You'll be fine, all right? Right, there, I have figures. I have new reviews. Dan Who Reviews is actually reviewing figures again. Can you believe it, people? Absolutely madness. But Wolfsbane and Cable are here, and they are very, very nice. It's like... One of my favourite things about collecting is world building, like building that little plastic Marvel universe on the shelf behind me. So I really enjoy completing teams, and it was very nice to complete a certain iteration of the New Mutants. Now there is always, or X Factor, sorry, she debuted in New Mutants. There's always people though in the chat that are like, because everyone has their own favourite version of a team, which is fair. So, like, people that you can never please everybody, if you know what I mean. Because I showed references on screen of the team shot I put in my review, and there were still people in the comments going, "Where's Forge? Where's Random?" And I'm like, look, I'm not disputing they weren't in X Factor at some point, but there's a very specific pinpoint area where we have a team complete now. The team is complete for the X Factor. Wolfsbane was the missing piece, and she is very nice in hand. At first, I was worried she'd got tangoed, and she's definitely browner. She's darker in person, but still orange, don't get me wrong. But there's definitely some shading on there that I think would have benefited throughout the whole figure. But go and check out my review, see for yourself. And Cable as well. I think the Capcom Cable will forever be dubbed the Capcom Cable. Both reviews are on the channel right now. Lots of comparisons, lots of head swaps for Cable. This is probably the best Cable head that we have gotten as well. So there we go.
Yeah, the detail in that eye on the right-hand eye, the sculpt, I thought looked really cool. I just couldn't make my mind up if the legs were too skinny. That's what I was thinking when I was watching it. Are they too skinny, or is it the camera?
No, they're decent. They're decent. They're fine. I think he is quite broad up top, but I don't think the legs are too skinny. I think he's all right. Yeah, he's good. You'll be fine. The Zabu Wave will be in hand very shortly, and they'll be on display at In-Demand Toys at MCM Comic Con as well, that is for sure. But regardless of that, I will continue reviewing that wave, by the way. I think Icarus will be next, but the rest of them are on the floor behind me. Zabu will be last, of course. But there was a little bit of Marvel Legend news between the last stream and this stream. So let's dive into that. Me and Jay have both actually already done videos on this, so you probably already know our thoughts. But let's just repeat them, Jay, for anyone who doesn't know. Or maybe you've changed your mind. But this is, of course, the brand new Marvel Legends Carnage from the Venom movie Let There Be Carnage, which was Venom 2 essentially. So this is Woody Harrelson as Carnage, which I'm a fan of Woody Harrelson, but I didn't see him as Cletus Cassidy. Like it just wasn't for me. I'm not excited about the Sonyverse. Nothing they've done away from Spider-Man so far I've enjoyed as such. I just always get irritated by it. Still haven't seen Madam Web. Apparently it's on Netflix, but is it on Netflix in the UK?
I was just about to ask you. It is on Netflix US. Anybody in the chat, is it on the UK? Because that could be some Friday night viewing, I think, in this house if it is.
Yeah, that would be fun actually. Yeah, for sure. Yes, let us know. Is Madam Web on the UK Netflix? I genuinely don't know. But yeah, I think Morbius is another film that wasn't very good. Like, why is Vulture in that film? Like, why is Michael Keaton in that film?
Oh, that post-credit scene of Morbius. I was like, what are they doing?
Sony just don't know what they're doing. Sony don't know what they're doing.
You're about to ruin No Way Home if we make this ending canon. I was like, please don't make this canon. Can we just forget about it? Somebody get Feige on the blower and say, we just forget about that.
Let's hope it's multiverse nonsense. That's how I'm sort of picturing it. It's just something happening in the multiverse that I can ignore if I choose to. And especially there's a Craven's coming out as well, which again, the trailer didn't do nothing for me. So as you can tell, I'm not a massive fan of the Sonyverse. However, I am a fan of action figures, and there's no disputing that the Venom that pairs up with this is a very nice looking Venom. But I do think proportionately it was always a little bit odd. So let's go through these pictures here. So Carnage does come with bendy wire tentacles, and it seems like the tentacles split off from each other as well down at the bottom. So it's like one tentacle, one attachment, splits off into two things. So you get like, is it 5 different sort of Sentinel strains.
Yeah,
but
3 pieces, but you
yeah.
can get 5 prongs with different
Yeah.
bendy wires. It took me half my video to work out they were bendy wires because I went through the photos backwards.
Yeah.
So that's a top tip to anybody out there. Go through the photos in order.
Yeah. So he comes with some interchangeable hands and some weapon effects which are trademark for Carnage, plus some interchangeable heads which do look very good. The figure itself, as you can tell, very textured, all new here. I don't see any reuse at all. The movie figures do get a lot of love. I just think, and I think Jay agrees with me after watching Jay's video, he's just a little bit lanky. Would you agree?
That is my main issue. Not with the figure, because the figure is an accurate representation of the movie. My issue is with the movie and how lanky he was, and the fact he was taller than Venom. I don't know. I really don't like this movie. I'm also not a fan of. We're literally gonna be 2 grumpy old men for a minute about the Sony verse, because I also cannot stand the Sony verse. I can get through the first Venom film, but it's not my favorite. But the rest of it, I really don't like. And this film, oh, it was winding me up. An absolute treat watching it in the cinema. I was like, what are they doing? Love Carnage, but do not like this movie design in the slightest. However, though, the figure looks pretty much spot on to the movie design version. SH Figure Arts, I think, have done a version. And this, to be fair, I don't think is too far off. And obviously at a much cheaper price point than Figure Arts, especially having the bendy wire, the tentacles in there, I think is a bit of a bonus. So I think they've nailed the lanky proportions you actually get in the film. It's just that design I don't like. So if you like this design, I think you're onto a bit of a winner with this figure.
Yeah, and the figure looks great. Don't get me wrong, it really doesn't. Like Jay said, it is lanky, but it is accurate to how he was portrayed in the movie. And I do think like it will pair up very nicely with Venom. I do have Venom on my display. He's up top with some of the Fox universe. I've sort of got like my own little multiverse display on the shelf, if you will. So I'm going to get him to pair up because I still think he's a great looking figure. And I do think with those bendy wires, you'll be able to get him to pose up in some really fun, dynamic ways. And I do love it when you can pose a character on the shelf in like their full powered up mode, and it's just more interesting to look at. So I think it will be a popular one for sure, like Venom was. Venom, I think, sold out originally and then had to be reissued, so people had a second chance at it. And then even now, it's still quite sought after. So, do you have Venom, Jay?
I do have Venom. I'm not sure if is he in there? I think he might have just been pulled. Now I've condensed the MCU stuff into the sale pile, but I have had him for quite a long time. It is again a good looking figure. I think Jamie has confirmed with our Madam Web chat it's not in the UK, and Brian has popped in. MCU Collector is there and said Madam Web, to be honest, not even worth watching. So maybe we'll just we'll pass on by.
Yeah, well, it's why we haven't seen it so far, to be fair. Rich was a big fan. And then after he's seen the film, didn't really mention it again. So yeah,
those cutouts, those standees,
they
sort of
disappeared,
faded away.
I don't know where they are now. Who knows? But yeah. Anyway, Carnage was this week's sort of reveal. It's already gone up for pre-order in all the places you buy your Marvel Legends, and yeah, will be a great pairing piece. Do you like? I said in my video that usually I would like unmasked heads to sort of represent the character behind the symbiote, I guess, in this case. Like, people I know have made custom Tom Hardy heads for Venom and stuff. But for these two, I think I'm fine. Like, I would never display them as Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson. Do you know, like, because to me, those actors are too, I don't know, like, I don't associate those actors to the characters as much as I do Hugh Jackman to Wolverine, if that makes sense.
I think the scaling might look weird because Carnage is so tall and lanky. If you just slapped a plain Woody Harrelson head on there, it's not going to quite look. It'd have to be. You need a transforming figure, the same.
I
as
should have
Venom.
photoshopped
you had
for an example. That would have been pretty funny. Yeah.
A little Hawaiian shirt on there or something as well. You could have a. I'm assuming they don't have the rights to Tom Hardy or Woody Harrelson, and we'll never get civilian versions of the two because they would fit into quite a lot of toy collections. But I doubt they have the rights to those.
So in regards to the Sonyverse then, just across all the movies that we don't particularly like, are there any characters that you would like to add to the collection? Apart from obviously these two now. Like the first movie had Riot, like Venom fought Riot in the first movie, which was the great
Didn't like the design of it either. I'll have a little lump of the symbiote goo from the canisters in the first film. I'll have an accessory. Yeah, that's all I can have. Or the lady in the shop. I quite like the lady in the shop in Venom. The shopkeeper lady. I can't remember her name. Don't know if she's named. But she's the most interesting character, I think, to me, out of the Sonyverse.
Shriek was in the film. I know. I can't remember the actress that played Tom Hardy's girlfriend, but she wore the symbiote suit for a little bit, didn't there? So there was a spoilers alert for Venom, by the way, but there was a female version of Venom briefly seen in the movie, which could make for an interesting figure. But yeah, like Jay, I don't think there's anyone that I'm clamoring for from the Sonyverse. More so, just anything in the Spider-Man Sonyverse, I'm more intrigued in for sure. Like I still want the end of No Way Home. We still need Electro. Who else? Who is it? Electro and Lizard, right? They're the two we need to complete the villains.
Yes, yeah. For the No Way Home, yeah, still need Electro and Lizard. Tell you what I do want for the Sonyverse. I've just had a quick rethink.
Okay.
Technically, Into the Spider-Verse is in the Sonyverse, and they are phenomenal films. So there is so many characters and variations of Spider-Man we could get from the second Spider-Verse film. So I would take some of those designs, I think, over any of the live action stuff, because I really do like the animated Sonyverse. Weird how they can do the animated phenomenally well, and live action, in my opinion, terribly.
It's the creative team behind it. That's why, for sure. In the chat, Jason Lopez says it's Miss Chen. Miss Chen is the shopkeeper. Michelle Williams, of course, my relation, my long lost sister, Michelle Williams, was Lady Venom. I should have remembered that. I think in regards to anything associated with the Sony Spider-Man sort of movies, the things that I want now are, of course, Electro, the Jamie Foxx Electro from the end of No Way Home, and also Lizard as well. I think we need updated versions of them to go along with Goblin, Green Goblin, and we've got Sandman and Doc Ock now, which are great figures. Really, really good figures. I've got a whole cube dedicated to No Way Home, basically.
They're off camera, but they are. Yeah. I have kept all of the No Way Home figures. They have stayed in my MCU shelf front and center, because yes, big fan of Spidey and No Way Home.
Yeah, good stuff. So I thought it would be fun, before Dan gets in, we sort of recap real quick what me and Rich have been doing for the last 3 weeks. So if you're a regular watching these live streams, or you watch on the replay, then you will know for the last 3 weeks, me and Rich have been dissecting the different decades from Marvel. So obviously this year we are celebrating 85 years of Marvel, which is insane. And we've been trying to break down that into decades and plucking characters that potentially haven't been done yet in the Marvel Legends line, or maybe characters that have a different costume or need an upgrade. And just a bit of fun. We've been throwing it to the chat and letting the chat decide their favourite characters from each decade. And we actually had some winners from each of those streams. So I thought it would be fun to actually poll those 3 winners to see who the ultimate winner is from those streams. All right, so again, we're celebrating Marvel's 85th anniversary, so let me just remind you, if you haven't watched those streams, again, go and watch them on the replay. You can listen to them as podcasts on the YouTube app if you wish, and where we're breaking down the characters throughout the decades, and we have some winners from those 3 shows, and those winners are here. Okay, so Bucky won the first stream, Rachel Summers won the second stream, and then last week's stream, it was very close. It literally went down to the wire, but it was between Destiny or Armor, and Armor just pulled ahead at the very end of the stream to become the overall winner for the stream. So we have 3 winners here: Bucky, Rachel Summers, and Armor. So I'm going to put in the poll right now, the poll to decide which one of these is the ultimate winner, and then we can pass that message on to Dan Yoon a little bit later when he comes on and be like, look, we've just spent weeks doing market research for you. This is the character people want. So let's do that, shall we?
Over 6 hours of market research, ideas on the after shows as well. If you're not an extra member, there was other ideas floating there as well. So yes, I'm sure if Dan doesn't make this, well, we'll have to riot, won't we? After all this research.
Let me put it in the order that they are on screen, just for my own. There you go. Right. Okay. So which of these characters would you like to see in Marvel Legends the most? The poll is now live. All right. So you get to vote. You get to vote. Jay, you're on screen as the people are voting along. You give me your thought process here. Which one of these would you like in Legends form?
I will cast my vote and I will go through them. So there is my vote in the chat, and let's have a look. How am I doing in the chat? So I won't say what I've voted for yet, because every time I've done that on the stream, I've cursed it. So I will talk through them then. So Bucky was your first winner. So a very A very strong pick for me was Bucky. A very strong pick is all I'll say so far. A character we've not had since the sort of dark days of Hasbro. Very, very lanky. Talking lanky, that thing's a minuscule little lanky figure. So that definitely needs an upgrade and an essential figure to go with Cap. But then you've got Rachel, you see, because then that's going to bring you on to what everybody loves, what you've mentioned, world building and completing teams. Because I think Rachel's one of the final members of Excalibur we actually need to complete that team. We're getting much closer.
If you like most teams, like I mentioned with X Factor, there's so many different versions of teams. But if you want to complete that front cover, that iconic sort of Excalibur 1 cover, then yes.
Yeah, that's the cover I've got in my head as well. Yeah, if you say Mind's Eye of something, that is what I'm thinking. That's the
Rachel. We need the Hound version of Rachel, essentially.
So we need that. And then armor will future be needed to complete a team in terms of the astonishing X-Men to go with that. It's just, of course, with armor, as I think we were debating on the after show last week, how are they going to do that translucent armor piece? Is it just going to be a clear plastic shell? Are they going to do her without the armor at all? Could the armor be a build-a-figure part with some basic articulation? Don't know how they would do it. So that'd be an interesting one to pose to Dan actually a bit later.
They could do
his thoughts on it.
Yeah, for sure. They could do a 2-pack where armor, you just get the regular armor figure just in girl form, and then you get like a pink translucent bigger figure as well. So you can't like put her inside it maybe, or maybe there's some, I don't know. It's definitely not an easy thing to create in plastic. That's for sure. So we'll give the Hasbro team some what's the word I'm looking for? Leeway on that
creative
one. Leeway on that one, because it's not an easy, it's easy, just repaint it, do this. It's like that one requires some engineering to make it work. So let's check in on the chat then and see how we're polling. I'm gonna let the poll try and ride up here to 100 votes, all right, because we've got a decent viewership tonight, all right.
Double poll, everybody. A double poll over the week, mate.
We got a decent viewership today, all right? Again, if you're coming in late, Dan Yoon will be joining us. So just be patient or come back in a little bit. But Dan Yoon will be joining us.
I'm going to try and rally the chat here. So my vote would have been, and it was my vote was for Bucky, who is in second place. So if we can get 14 more votes for Bucky, he can pull it. So anybody wants to be on my side, any fans at all out there, I've got a beard, will that help? It's freshly washed. Give us a vote for poor Bucky.
Trimmed his hair to try and impress you all this evening.
Everything. What more do you want? I've come on with a dodgy background. I've blown the lights earlier, so there's no lights here at all today.
Comics are gone. All your novel.
Yeah, we've had to literally think on the fly today. I've started to move it around to get ready for a potential Lego Daily Bugle that might be going on the top.
Oh no! He went down the Lego rabbit hole. That's a conversation. That's a conversation for Legends and Liquor. We'll save that.
Yeah. But as I was moving it, I pulled the lights apart and broke all the strips, which means I now got to pull all the units out, get behind, strip it off, and start again.
Oh no!
So a vote for Bucky would cheer me up. A vote for anybody, not a single person's voted for Bucky since I've started this campaign. Absolutely shocking, and I think you might have just hit.
Yeah, we did. We hit 100 votes as Jay was talking, and everyone chose to ignore Jay because it seems like Rachel Summers is definitely the desired look, desired figure here. So Bucky, I'm going to end that poll here. And Rachel Summers takes it easily with about 50% of the vote. So the market research has been done. I will pass this information on to Mr. Dan Yoon a little bit later. But there you have it. Out of the 3 streams, it seems Rachel Summers is holding strong as one of the most wanted. And again, this is 3 weeks of research with Marvel Legend collectors. It is clear now that Rachel Summers, amongst the community, at least the community that watch this channel at least, would like a Rachel Summers. But I do feel like she is a character people would appreciate. Now, there are rumours out there, rectangular, sorry, had a bad throat there, of potential Phoenix figure maybe this year. Is that Rachel? Is that another Jean? Like, we don't know yet. Nobody knows. Until things are officially announced, you never know. But I hope we get Rachel, as she is that last member to Excalibur. But yeah, there you go. Rachel Summers with 49% of the vote, Bucky with 35%, and Armor only with 15%. I'd be interested to see if Destiny was in there instead of Armor, if that would have changed the vote at all, because she was just as strong as Armor, but last minute Armor took her over. And I think Destiny compared to Rachel might have been a stronger battle, maybe, because they're 2 more more old school characters than Armor, even though Armor's been around for a good while now as well, to be fair.
He's the oldest school character here. That didn't help. So
yeah, Bucky. We do need a new Bucky for sure. In that colour palette, we've got plenty of Captain Americas, we've got plenty of Winter Soldiers, we've got a couple of Falcons these days, but we need a classic Bucky to partner with some of our Captain Americas, and that sort of brings me into the sort of next topic of conversation. So again, Dan Yoon will be joining us very, very soon. I'm just going to hit him up in a second with the link to join the show. So but before he comes on, I thought it'd be fun to sort of just think, when someone says to you, right, because this happens to me all the time, because people ask me, oh, I'm starting to collect, like, what is the best version of this? What is the best version of that? And that's a whole topic. That's a whole 2-hour stream in itself to talk about that. But I thought I could use Legendsverse here, good friends of the channel, to have a quick glance at some of these potential versions. So as always, shout out legendsverse.com. Always got all the new releases on there. You can create wish lists. Again, I'm sure you've heard me talk about them plenty of times. So if I type in a character here, so let's say Wolverine. Let's put Wolverine in here. It should come up with all the Wolverine figures.
2 hours alone with Wolverine.
Yeah. But my point is, it will give us the Marvel Legends. I think it's even got the selects on there as well. So all I did was type in Wolverine, and it's give me all the different Wolverines that have been releases. You've got Legends, you've got selects, you've got figures that predate Legends as well, but are still made by either Hasbro or Toy Biz. And as you can see, we're on page 1 of 3 for Wolverine. All right, so there's a lot of Wolverine figures. So just on Wolverine, real quick, what's your favorite version of Wolverine?
I can tell you the word straight away because it just popped up. It's that Black Suit Ultimate version from Hasbro, or towards the bottom of this page. There was just the top
this
left,
one
as you're looking at it.
This one. Yeah,
that one. There it is. There's the one with the absolutely crazy head sculpt. What's the best version of Wolverine? I think
it's subjective. It depends on people's preference, of course. But I'm asking you, what is yours?
My favourite version is the Weapon X version of Wolverine.
Okay.
But it's probably down to the fact that that's my favourite Wolverine design, I would say, is probably
as I said, we're not trying to pander to the audience, and we're not trying to subjectively think of the best figure. I was just asking you, just in general terms, what's your favourite version of Wolverine? Because that brings me on to the point. It's a hard question to ask, because it depends on your preference. And look at that. Displayed Once isn't even here. He couldn't even make it tonight, but he has just gifted 5 channel memberships to the people that are lurking in the show. So thank you very much to Rich, wherever you are. Girls Aloud, following Girls Aloud around somewhere in the country. But 5 channel memberships have just been gifted. Thank you very much to Rich. And they're all going to pop up on the screen now. Damien has also said 85th Avengers foes needed. Gavatron Ultimo. How do you say that one? I always mess that one up.
Gravitron.
Gravitron Ultra. I'm not familiar, Damien. And Korvac. Yeah, they're old school. Oh, you must be going way
old
back.
School Avengers, Michael Korvac.
You must be going old. So shout out the Wolfpack. I think Killer Kills, JBK's dads, Robert and Gabrielle have all been gifted channel memberships from Displayed Once. So if you are here and you want to say thank you to Rich, please just say a little thank you to Rich. He's in the chat for a minute. I'm sure he's he says, Girls Aloud don't even start their tour until tomorrow. I'm, of course, unwrapping the figure of the year, Red Widow, tonight. Oh, okay. So he's too busy unwrapping Red Widow tonight. But there you go. A few thank yous in the chat for Rich. Always appreciated. So let's go back to Legendsverse for a second then. I would think, like, right now, I think in my mind, the X-Men 97 Wolverine is the best Wolverine for me, because my favourite Wolverine costume is the Tiger Stripe, the Jim Lee, and I think this is the best version of that we have in figure form right now. And we've had a few in recent years. Like, I think the first one in the modern era was what was it, the Apocalypse Wave in 2016, when it sort of came back around. But I think this one is the best Wolverine. So, but again,
it seems extremely popular, this one, as you say. But this one,
Look
I've got a controversial.
look at the max aftermarket value.
I've got a controversial opinion. I skipped this one because I don't like it. I don't like the shade of blue. I've got an issue with. I think the blue's too light, and I prefer the darker blue on like the one from the Love Triangle 3-pack.
Yeah.
So I never swapped it over. I know this one's pinless and much more fancy with a better head sculpt, but the blue was too light for me. But that was, again, as you say, it's all down to random preferences. I've always had a thing for the grey suit one as well because of the thick claws that come on the X-Force one, the Uncanny X-Force version in grey. I think they had really good set of claws on. So anything with that claw set always seems a bit better to me rather than the flimsy little skinny things.
No, I agree. I don't like. I know Dan Eunice said that there's still another Wolverine to come this year. Of course, we're celebrating his 50th anniversary, so there is another Wolverine to come this year. But as you can see on screen right now, there's a lot. There's a lot of Wolverines to choose from. So it genuinely does depend on personal preference. But we could do this with like any character. I do want to bring in Punisher though real quick because Punisher's one I definitely think is worthy of an upgrade. And the reason I'm talking about upgrades is because so far the 85th anniversary line has been upgrades. It's like every figure that they've revealed or shown so far has been a character that has already been released, or a version of a character that's been released. They're just upgrading it to the sort of new modern aesthetics with the new pinless tech, the digital face printing, the extra articulation. So there is, so far out of what they've revealed, there are no new characters added to the line because we've got all of these versions in figure form. They're just upgraded versions. So I was thinking, well, what other characters need upgraded versions? And as I said, I've been talking about Punisher for a while. We've got a lot of decent Punishers, but I don't think any of them really hold up to the current bar that has been set by Marvel Legends. Would you agree?
Yes, I love Frank Castle. I love Punisher figures, all stemming back from the early Toy Biz days in the early 90s with a little sort of 4.5-inch Punisher where you click the little thing on his back and he'd have like the cat gun kind of noise that would make on the grey retro card now, I suppose, as it is, recreating that. And that you can even get a jacketed version with a little brown plastic jacket. So always had great memories of Punisher, and I don't think we've had the perfect version yet. It's a combination for me. I think it was the Walgreens exclusive was the main one we had, and then we had the retro card version. So what I've done is taken the white bandana head from the Walgreens and put it on this one because I don't like the no bandana and I don't want the red bandana on the white. So I've had to combine them to make what I would think is a much better Punisher than the two versions separately.
Yeah, little kit bash. There's some great versions here. I like the version on the bike with the helmet, with the horns on, and he comes with all the weapons and the baseball bat and stuff. There's even the War Machine Punisher as well, which is pretty sought after now, which is, I think, an underrated design, to be fair. It makes sense for Punisher to have, if he got hold of that armor, spray paint the logo on the front and off he goes. But I think Punisher, like, this was my favourite Marvel Legend for a long time. For a long time, this was my favourite Marvel Legend. I had multiple of these.
I'd never owned that version. I had the Toy Biz Series 4, I think. I might have got the series wrong, but I had the Toy Biz one for years and years and years, but I never changed it to that. I don't think I even saw that
I brought this one at Home Bargains in the UK. £5. £5. Home Bargains.
Wasn't Doctor Doom in white in that wave? And it was really cheap to get over here, but in the US,
and Deadpool,
you couldn't get it anywhere.
And Deadpool in the red as well. I literally, like, proper scalpery back in the day, like, would buy
2013 Dan Who scalper.
Would buy the red Deadpools, and like, because I wasn't really into the toy game as deeply as I am in now. So I had a few stashed under my bed at home. This is before Amanda even knew I liked collecting. I'd sell the Deadpool on eBay for like 50 quid, and I'd be up like 45 quid. I'd be wow chuffed. So I sold many a red Deadpool. That was old. Dan Who doesn't scalp anymore, by the way, people. I'm just putting it out there before the headlines start. But yeah, that back in the day, if you're in the UK, you would remember that red Deadpool went for a £5 in Home Bargains. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Deadpool. And again, the website I'm using is legendsverse.com. I'm sure you've heard about them on the channel before. We're just discussing what characters are worthy of an upgrade. We've had a great Deadpool upgrade this year with this version, by the way. Shame it's on the plastic-free packaging, but it's a great 2-pack. The Deadpool I'm referring to is probably on page 2. Oh, where is it?
I think it was on page 1. It was on the right-hand side, middle.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
There you
there
go.
it is. There it is. Yeah, there you go. That's the one. Yeah, it was for some reason it never hit US retail, and like then the UK stores got them, and this was like the reignition of Marvel Legends after this. Like Epic Heroes came, they fizzled away, and then in 2014 the new packaging that came out that still holds today, all these years later. And yeah, that's now the Legends we know. But Epic Heroes,
We've missed the 10-year anniversary of Epic Heroes. I've
I
just
know.
discovered.
I
We could
would
have
say,
had a retro card.
am I the only one? A chat, like genuine question to the chat, right? I don't know if anyone is as fond as these Epic Heroes cards as I was, but there was a Phoenix Force Cyclops that was meant to come out on this card that never came out. A Danny Moonstar never came out on this card that was meant to be a variant of Mystique, I believe. There was a Blade that was meant to be a variant of the Punisher that was meant to come out.
Yes, there was a Blade, wasn't there, with the open mouth.
Yeah, there was a few.
Was it, I think?
There was a white version of Phoenix as well that Daysprings now has at Powers of X-Men podcast. Like there were definitely some old school variants.
This is taking me back to the marvellegends.net days.
Yeah.
I used to have that big mansion on there
Yeah.
on the website, all these random figures. Oh dear.
Yeah.
To be young again, chat. To be young again.
Yeah, for sure. So I'd definitely be into getting the Epic Hero figures for sure. Let me just check my messages here real quick. Oh, check my DMs. I think Dan's trying to jump in, so let's get Dan in here. All right. Let's.
Well, I think you're giving yourself loads of future content with that idea.
Oh yeah,
top best of Marvel Legends.
Lots of potential for talking about upgrades of characters, which I think is so far what the 85th anniversary line has done. Right. Okay, so let's get this list back up. There's the list of the 85th anniversary line so far. Are you pre-ordered everything?
I haven't pre-ordered everything. I haven't pre-ordered Venom.
Venom's not off a pre-order yet. That's probably why. Yeah.
And I haven't pre-ordered Carol. I was going to, and then I got distracted and forgot to do it. Then she sold out.
Yeah.
And then I think she was still on Pulse, so I haven't pre-ordered Carol yet. Everything else is pre-ordered, but not Carol.
Yeah, Carol's sold out.
The old one.
Warbird is sold out in multiple spots for us in the UK. Now, there is some controversy with Carol over in the US, which we're well aware of. She was a Target exclusive, and also the pre-order didn't last very long, unfortunately. But I do think Dan himself came out on Twitter and said, be patient, it'll be back up again at some point. They're working with their retailers, etc. But because she's not an exclusive in the UK, it did, fortunately for us, she was available in multiple places. But she's still sold out in all those multiple places. So she's clearly...
I am looking as we speak, because I had her in my Star Action Figures basket,
she's
never
sold
did
out.
Check out.
Yeah.
And now she's a goner. She's gone on Pulse.
Yeah.
Where else could she's gone on there?
Check our good friends in demand. And check in demand.
Check in demand.
Yeah, I think
we've got live FOMO pre-ordering people. It's happening again every time I come on this channel.
Ghost Rider is another one that's getting pretty popular. Obviously, the Spider-Man and Wolverine were the first ones to go up. That were very popular as well. This line has been about upgrades, and that's what that conversation was about. Like, there are still, even though we've had 20 plus years of Marvel Legends, there are still plenty of characters that are worthy of an upgrade, because Legends have sort of turned up the dial, especially this year with this line. The digital face printing tech, as I said, is really good. The articulation's improving, but the aesthetics are not getting worse. I always had a fear that like people really want loads of articulation, but if you keep adding cuts and chops into figures, you're going to mess around with the proportions or the sort of aesthetics of a character. But it's about finding that balance in between the two, I think, because I want my character, like, as much as I want it to move, I want it to be an action figure. I do think, more importantly for me, I want it to be accurate looking to the source material. So I look at my shelf and it looks like the character, and some of those figures back in the day from the Toy Biz days were just proportionately all over the place and just do not fit into a collection anymore. So I'm glad that they're going back and redoing some of these characters. Like, look at that 2-pack as well, with Power Man, Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Both look great. Astonishing X-Men as well. I know Rich won't be happy if they finally do a new Kitty Pryde, but there's no doubts he's going to look great with the Cyclops and Emma Frost we've already got. Remember the Superior Spider-Man we got in 2014? Like, very inaccurate, never had the Waldo legs either, so that's a massive upgrade. Warbird only came in a free pack before that. That wasn't easy to get, and obviously she's now on the Black Widow body that's been modded to better suit her costume. Massive upgrade. And then Danny Ketch is the Ghost Rider I think people wanted, that they've now finally had an opportunity to get at retail. And then the only thing that bugged me about Venom is that, like, we've already had a Venom on the retro card, and like when there's characters like Chameleon, do you know what I mean? Chameleon is still missing from that retro line, but yet we get 2 Venoms, that type of stuff. I'm like, oh, come on now, Chameleon at least.
You're turning around now, Dan's turning around.
Oh,
So
no,
I can't come on here, this Chameleon talk.
Yeah.
Well, I've looked for Carol. She's gone everywhere. I've checked old Scotty on Blue Owl as well. So I'll have to stick with my original Carol unless she turns up in stock somewhere. But I do have the other one, so I've got a backup at least for our Carol there, because I've been far too slow. So lesson learned, people. If you got it in your basket, don't forget to press the checkout button. Don't get distracted. Go do something else. Close the tab and forget about it. It's not the best way to pre-order action figures.
Yeah. Again, people have got into the habit recently of waiting for stuff to go on sale, but I do think those days are over now. Do you know, like, again, the pandemic ordering has sort of gone away, and now figures, like, they're in stock. If you want them, get hold. Or if you play the waiting game, that's fair game. So obviously you collect how you wish, but be prepared that some things may disappear. So yeah, we shall see. But I definitely, as long as distribution is fair game, but I do think, unfortunately, with someone like Carol, the distribution from Target, probably someone didn't turn the number, didn't put the right number into the quantity box or something like that, and yeah, that's definitely an issue with that for sure.
Dan was saying she will actually be in, and they just had a lower amount up for pre-ordering that will be sorted. But she would have been a popular character anyway, because that 3-pack she was in was hard to get, or it's very hard to get nowadays indeed, because she was in with Radioactive Man and somebody else.
Right, let me just jump to this screen real quick. Let me just get Dan in here. Let me press a button and see if we can get Dan in. All right. Dan Yoon has entered the Zoom call. This is where everyone's got to behave now, right? Don't show me up, people. Don't show me up. All right, there he is. There he is.
Yo, what's up?
There he is, Mr. Dan Yoon. How you doing?
Hello.
Doing good. Hey, Jay.
Hello.
Have we actually met in person or anything like that? No, right?
We have not met. No, I've met Ryan. I've met Ryan, but I have not met yourself. So yes, very nice to see you for the first time.
Yeah, nice meeting you, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully, do you watch football at all, or do you follow football at all?
Don't ask him. He's a Man U fan.
I'm a Man U fan. It's not gone too well. I see Arsenal we're topping the table for a bit, but then City have come back with a couple of points. But you've got a chance. You've got a chance. More than we have, and more than Dan has.
Look, yeah, I just want European football, and I'm happy, and we're nearly there. So I'm not mad. We're building. We're rebuilding. That's the difference with Chelsea. Yeah, this is where we're going to lose people if we start talking football in the chat. But Dan,
okay.
Dan, we appreciate you joining us today. Rich sends his apologies. But yeah, to be honest, he's not happy with you because we didn't get a Jubilee in the X-Men line. That's the genuine reason he's not here.
I knew it. I was texting you. I was like, "Yo, man, why is Rich ducking me?" And I had a feeling it was gonna be Jubilee. So
yeah, it's always Jubilee. It's honestly, when there's an issue with Rich, it's always Jubilee. Or if someone brings up Kitty Pryde, you don't plan on making any Kitty Prydes anytime soon, right? Because that would really send him over the edge.
I mean, I think I'm just gonna delay both Hippo, Jubilee.
No.
As long as possible. Now.
Scribble that question out, Jay. He's not making Hippo.
Right,
Dan. That was top.
I'll get that one off the list.
That was top. That was my top question. That was as well, Dan. Ruined.
I'm expecting Hippo questions. I'm expecting Chameleon questions, and what else? What else we got? Yeah, something like that. You know what I mean?
No. You're on the right track. To be fair. This is the part where the chat go mad at me and like, stop wasting Dan's time with these stupid questions.
Shall I get my passion project out the way then that Dan isn't familiar with yet? You've got hippos and everything, so I'll just I'll just plot mine across the screen there with the classic version of animated Mandarin. I've asked Ryan. I was begging Ryan. We got retro cards, so I'm living in hope.
What did Ryan tell you, Jay?
He told me at MCM last year that we would be getting some Iron Man retro cards this year. He just didn't tell me which ones. So
And he
we
didn't
have
lie
had a
either, did
lovely
he?
wave of. He didn't lie. We had a lovely wave of 6. There's a very nice She-Hulk on there as well. But so we've got some green on the card. So hopefully there is still hope.
Yeah, yeah. Dan, did you wear? It's like we all know. If you're familiar with Dan, I'm sure you're aware. He's a big fan. He's like me, to be fair, in regards to your first introduction to a lot of these characters were through the animated shows in the 90s, right? Through Spider-Man and X-Men. Did you ever check out the Iron Mans and the Fantastic Fours and the Silver Surfers and the Hulks, all those other animated shows as well? Or did you revisit them later?
I definitely did. I remember the Iron Man like intro song being pretty badass, not gonna lie. Like he's like yeah, it's a pretty badass theme song. I feel like theme songs nowadays suck, but I don't actually recall vividly the episodes. Like, you know what I mean? Like I viscerally remember X-Men like 92 and like Spider-Man the animated series. I remember those episodes like they're yesterday. You know what I mean? The Iron Man stuff I don't really remember that much. I remember the Fantastic Four series a little bit too, but if we're being honest, no shade to anybody, but like it was really the X-Men and the Spider-Man animated shows that from the Marvel side at least that I feel like resonated the most. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I think that's the general consensus would be that as well. Like people may have a soft spot for some of the others, but I do think the general consensus is it's all about Spider-Man and X-Men in the 90s. All those other shows were created after the fact because of their popularity. I'm like you as well with Iron Man. Like I remember watching episodes, but it all merges into one for me. I couldn't tell you when things happened, but I remember characters and stuff like that. But yeah, it's all about Spider-Man, as you know, and as you as well. I can see in the shelf behind you, you got the Spider-Man shelf rep in there. A lot of the retro cards. You've got a few of the old school Toy Biz ones back there as well, right? Or am I misseeing that?
No. I also this is a fake background, just so you know.
Oh no, I noticed, but it's still your home, right? Still your
That was my shelf from Atlanta back in the day. I really loved like the old school like the Toy Biz ones like a lot. And I've been trying to go on eBay to get like some of the old ones, and they're kind of expensive, man. Like more than I thought they would be.
Dan, I've been doing it. I've been doing exactly that. Like
I've been
going backwards. I don't know why I waited 30 years because it's not the very financial. Trying to find a nice card 30 years later is not easy. But I've been doing it.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. So that was really like the hard one to get was the posable Spider-Man.
No, I don't know if you could see it. Damn it.
I can see. Oh, you've got the two Venoms. Yeah, nice. Oh, that's the new Venom as well. Very nice.
It is the new Venom, yeah. So I promised on Twitter to show you guys the new retro carded Venom, and I'm playing with it right now on the new head, and I just wanted to really show off the articulation on that new inverted diaphragm kind of thing.
Let's go full screen for you there for a second.
Yeah, it has that new head sculpt. I'm so sorry about my fake background, but yeah. And then it has that new. I really love this upper torso type of articulation scheme. I know it does break up the logo a little bit, but overall it's on that Omega red body, so it has the butterfly joints and everything like that. The new head sculpt that has more of that 90s look is awesome. And yeah, man, I know the cell shading was kind of it was a polarizing thing, right? It's always a polarizing thing within the community. So there was a lot of chatter of putting it on a retro card because there's something about it being on the retro card. And I know you're going to complain about Where's Chameleon, but Venom is just one of those characters, man, that sells really, really well. Super popular. It's in the US. It might be an online only exclusive for Walmart. So when it goes up for pre-order, later on this summer for the U.S. fans who might be listening, and if you have U.S. friends, please tell them make sure to pre-order it on Walmart. And I'll get I'll talk about the elephant in the room about like the Target exclusive. So again, I work on the Hasbro Global team. There are local Hasbro. Like there's a local Hasbro UK team, there's a local Hasbro US team and things of that nature. I don't get full visibility on the whole allocation of quantities and things of that nature, right? Just know that when we heard about what happened with Target, it was just like an allocation discrepancy of what we thought it would happen. And so, yeah, again, it's not to excuse the disappointment and the pain that people felt when it comes to not being able to pre-order it. We have been told from our partners that they will be she will be available in stores for Target. And I know that doesn't satisfy everybody. Everybody wants to be able to pre-order and have that guarantee. And I apologize sincerely about that. And I know the haters are gonna be like, yeah, stop wasting my time and breath. I just want it, right? So like, go ahead, clip it, and just shit on me if you want. But I'm just trying to give you guys context behind the scenes, and trying to give you guys insights. Like,
I think people appreciate the transparency of like you just being aware. I think it frustrates people more when no one mentions the issue at all. But as I said, you're not blind to it. You can see it, and you'll do what you can behind the scenes. And I think people appreciate that. But yeah, Warbird looks great.
And so I guess my point, sorry to cut you off, is that like with Venom, there shouldn't be that similar issue with the online pre-order, right? So there should be plenty of quantities available, and I think they're limiting it as well in terms of how many somebody could get. So yeah, if you're really interested in the US, it is a Walmart exclusive. I believe it's a Walmart exclusive in Canada as well. But yeah, and for the UK guys, it should be available like how you normally get your Walmart.
Just regular Fen channel and all the regular places for sure. Yeah,
exactly.
We do get there's always I get it from both sides, because like people moan at me when we occasionally get things earlier because of not having the store exclusives. There's one less barrier or one less hurdle for figures to jump over during the distribution chain, I suppose. So sometimes I get lucky and get stuff earlier, but again, it's tit for tat. Sometimes America, sometimes it's Canada, sometimes it's overseas. It's like no one can explain distribution to us. Do you know? Like no one can. It's a magical thing. But
it's a crazy thing, isn't it? Distribution and everything. But I think it's good to live in a day and age now where Dan can come on a stream like this, or at least on Twitter, and make an announcement, at least address the issues, rather than days in the past where we'd go on and people just wouldn't know. So then you just have speculation running wild. So at least you can come on and give an answer. So I think that's at least good for transparency, as Dan was saying.
I mean, I try to be transparent with the community as much as possible, because without you guys and without the community, I know for a fact that there will be no line. You know what I mean? And I'm very passionate about trying to be communicative as much as possible and transparent and being authentic. I think authenticity to me is like very, very important. And so like I want to authentically express like that I hear the pain or the dissatisfaction when things happen, right? And we're going to try to address it as much as possible. And again, like we want you to know that you guys are being heard, even though that might not solve you getting the figure in hand, at this moment in time. But hopefully for those people in the US who have access to a Target, you'll be able to see a Warbird in stores. And that's what I'm crossing my fingers for and seeing.
The chat seemed very appreciative, Dan. Honestly, as I said, it's about the communication. I think people don't like to be left in the lurch and not knowing what the situation is. So people appreciate the transparency. So yeah, the community are just excited. There's like that's the bottom line. Do you know, like if it was a figure that they didn't want, and no one was moaning, that would be probably more of an issue, you know, like, but at least it's something people want. And the whole line so far, I've got the list up on the screen now of the 7 figures revealed so far officially out of the 10. I think all of them are up for pre-order apart from Scar and Venom currently, if I'm correct. And like I was talking to Jay just before you come on about like upgrading characters. Like the line now is so deep, and it's just the bar keeps rising for Marvel Legends in regards to the digital face printing tech and the new articulation and etc. and the pinless tech, of course. We're getting upgrades to these desired characters, and so far the 80th anniversary line has been exactly that, as in every character on the list is in my opinion at least a worthy upgrade to desired characters. Was that something that you guys are aware of? Like so far there's no new characters in this line, but it's all like worthy upgrades of characters, or is that just an odd coincidence that no new character ended up being here?
No, I mean, I think the reality is the brand itself is over like 20 years now, right? And so like we have touched upon, and as much as we love making into 6-inch form characters that have never been made before, we also need to continuously pump out characters that we know are in demand, right? And so, and within that 20-year gap, there are so many new collectors too. So an update, if we do an update or another version of the character, we do try to bring newness as much as possible. And yeah, so that was our strategy was we know we have new collectors, we know these characters are in demand, and we know that these characters need upgrades that we can do, whether it be from articulation or deco or accessory standpoint. And that's why we chose these characters. And I think the remaining three are also really good. I'm really, really into, I don't know which one is my favorite right now, to be honest.
Okay.
But I will say next week we will be officially revealing one item from the 85th program. Okay. And I tried to tease this yesterday on the Toy Daddies channel. Shout out to them too. Thank you for having me. And I'm sorry,
I watched the stream as well, by the way. Laser Man and all. I watched it. Yeah.
Appreciate it. And I forgot. Thank you guys for having me on here. It's always an honor. I hate going on live streams because I feel like I'm super awkward. But thank you,
Dan. Look, this is episode 191 of the weekly Dan Who live stream. Where whether it was Brandon or now Rich or even Jay, every single week. I've only missed a couple of weeks throughout these 4-year period. Yep. And just to confirm for the people, you've watched all 191 episodes as well, right? From start to finish, don't miss a show.
I will say I'm a big fan of the replay crew for your channel, but I also spend countless hours on other people's live streams and podcasts and Reddits and things of that nature. It drives my wife crazy how much off-hour time she recognizes your voices and stuff like that.
That's cool.
I used to joke. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's Dan Who," and she'd be like, "Who?" I was like,
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. There's too many Dans. That's always been my issue. That's where Dan Who's from. I told you, it's like multiple Dans. But now, if you say, "Oh, I watched Dan's review," and someone goes, "Dan Who," now you're thinking of me, regardless of whose review you're on about. It works.
Brandon,
it's like that's like living the toy dream job, though, isn't it? Because you get to literally talk about toys all day, make toys, watch about them, talk about them after. It's just, I think I need a career change.
Don't let it become all consuming because again, like you were talking about earlier, you can't fake that passion. And I always say that about YouTube as well, where channels pop up and they disappear. Like, if you want to become rich and famous, talking about toys on YouTube is not the way to do it. Like, I'm telling everyone right now, that's the wrong choice. No, it's for the passion, for sure. It's a great way to share this hobby. And the figures, as I said, so far the figures are great. But again, while you're here, Dan, you were talking about those other figures, and I don't want to dive too deeply in. And I'm not a detective by any means, but sure. I just want to throw up this image on screen. And I've just done a little bit of investigating myself, and I don't know if
enhance.
Yeah, I was using
that
90s movie technology where you enhance, you flip it. Again, very technical, but I don't know if that's I don't know, is that lighting that's making it look a bit? It looks like Hulkbuster to me, but I don't know if that's just a bit of a clever Photoshop on your part as well. Do you know this could be you playing games with us? But it looks
I'll say Photoshop is a beautiful thing sometimes, and also a very crazy time, But no. I mean, I'm not gonna really. It's pretty. It's
all right. I just thought I'd put it there. I'm just saying. We see these things, Dan. All right. We just think you're clever, don't you? But we notice. But tell Ryan be careful next time. All right. Just push that box backwards.
It was definitely me. I thought Ryan honestly would get mad at me because I posted that, but I did post it intentionally, I would say, because I knew after that post it would cause some conversations, and as a marketer, that's what I want. I want you guys to be talking about our stuff. So
look, as I said, 191 episodes weekly talking about stuff, so we appreciate that. There is something to talk about most weeks.
You need some content out there to keep him busy and save Rich making those.
Just anything you got for me, Dan. I can. Me and Rich can make a 2-hour stream off scraps. Don't worry about it. So no, we appreciate it. But if that does turn out to be true, and I know you've also on Twitter publicly said that you've got other pictures of these Iron Man figures that would look really great. So I'm all I'm saying is I'm looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to it.
I would hint to you as well. And one of the reasons why I was on here, shout out to Brandon, was because like Brandon asked me like, hey, do you want to plug the
MCM,
MCM
yeah.
London Comic Con? So,
There it is.
you know, In Demand Toys and Hasbro UK, I think they're working together for MCM Comic Con. I think
Yeah.
Dan, you're part of this too, but Brandon is gonna be there. Hasbro is going to be there. We've never been at MCM London really in the springtime.
Yeah,
We've been
May.
there in the fall a bunch of years, and this will be our first time really attending the spring. It's a great time for people to really see some cool stuff. I can confirm for you now that, you know, you'll see some really early stuff. Zabu Wave, this Zabu Build-A-Figure, guys, it's on point, right? That wave, cable, like all the figures in that wave are actually like legit, to be honest. And then you're gonna see the Iron Man Retro Wave. You're gonna see the 85th anniversary line in person, so you'll get to like maybe touch Superior Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm gonna touch him, whether Peter likes it or not. I'm gonna touch him. All his legs.
So yeah, if you're in the area in London, and if you're hesitating, I wouldn't hesitate. Really check it out. And yeah, talk to Brandon, talk to the Hasbro people down there. Please don't be negative and or too critical in a personal way, I should say. Right? You can be critical as much as you want on the product, but just don't go over that line. But yeah, man, I'm jealous because I love going to London. I only get to go to London because of MCM Comic Con, honestly, in the fall, and I didn't get to go last year, right? And yeah, if maybe one day we'll go in the springtime too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. People have been asking that, like, they've been asking me because since I've been promoting this, like, are Hasbro going to have a booth at MCM like they do in the winter? But they're not. Hasbro are going to have product on show at the In Demand Toys booth. Okay, so if you're going to MCM Comic Con from the 24th to the 26th, head to In Demand Toys, because that is where you're going to see the new Hasbro products. And it's not just, obviously, you know me, love my Marvel Legends, but it's not just Marvel they're going to be showing off. Brandon's taken down some Star Wars Vintage Collection and Black Series and some new Transformers as well. So I think there's going to be a nice Hasbro display over at In Demand Toys with some brand new stuff from across all of the brands to be seen for the first time in hand. And like you said, Dan, I'm very excited to see some of the 85th anniversary stuff. I do think that line, that live stream you did revealing those 6 figures, and then since then we've had Venom as well, that got everybody excited. Like, I genuinely, obviously you might have seen yourself, but usually the community are always divided, and there's always like, oh, I like it, I don't like this, and that's fair game. Like, not everyone can like everything, but the general consensus from that stream was like, oh wow, Legends have like raised the bar to what people want it to be, and people are excited to get them in hand. So to get an early look at them will just make me more excited. I've told Brandon, like, you need to watch me, because if things start disappearing off the shelf, I'm just gonna be that emoji that's like I'm like, I have no idea. Don't ask me. I don't know where they went. So yeah, I'm very excited to see some of that. But yeah, MCM London, which is next weekend, not this coming weekend, the weekend after, 24th to the 26th. There will be Hasbro product on display every single day, but I think Saturday would be the big day you want to get there for the new reveals to see them first. So yeah, shout out In Demand Toys as well, of course. If you're a UK collector, they're one of the big independent retailers over here, amongst a few, of course, but In Demand are the place you want to go to at MCM Comic Con. So, and just to confirm, Dan, for people, because again, people ask me this doesn't mean that there isn't potential for Hasbro to come over in the winter as well. Like, that's still on the cards potentially.
I believe that it's still in the cards. Yeah. We haven't finalized any of those plans yet, to be honest with you. So I actually just booked my ticket and got confirmation about San Diego.
Oh wow!
Just to give you context.
That's
right?
coming quick as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was like, oh man, guys, are we booking this thing? What's happening? So yeah, I can't really confirm anything further, but next week, MCM London, I can definitely confirm that, and I can confirm for sure that the product with In Demand Toys, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be lit. And yeah, if you guys had to rank, before I ask that question, like, just to answer your question, like, we on the development team kind of knew that the Marvel 85th program was gonna be really good. Like, we secretly always have intuitions.
Quietly confident.
Yeah, and obviously there are times when people are like not happy with the product, but like in the back of our heads, we were just like, just wait, next year we're gonna get it. And like we knew that the Marvel 85th program was gonna be on point. So hopefully, once you guys get it in hand, and when you go to MCM with in-demand toys and see it in person, you'll just like confirm it. Because I think there is a difference between just seeing it digitally and like actually playing it in hand. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, and
I'm excited. I'm making the trip. I'm making the trip because of that. Do you know what I mean? Like Brandon, like all he had to say was new Marvel Legends on show. I'm like, okay, tell me where to be, Brandon. There, and it's in demand toys. That's the place.
If you guys had to rank so far the characters from the 85th program, who are your favorites so far?
I think I really like the Iron Fist and Luke Cage 2-pack. Something that I think just frustrates me as a collector sometimes is a 2-pack with one really desirable, great character, and then the character it's packed with is a repaint or a non-desire. Do you know, like that like frustration of like, oh, I've got to buy a 2-pack to get the one I want. So I do think that this year, especially with Hank Pym and Wasp, was a solid two. Like that is the perfect complementary piece to the HasLab. And now, of course, with Iron Fist and Luke Cage, I'm like, this is how you do 2-packs. Like characters that make sense paired together. And both of them are the best representations of those particular versions, and the accessories are there as well. So it's not just like the figures just getting an upgrade. The accessories are there, the articulation's there. So I think I'm really excited for the new Iron Fist and Luke Cage. I love that pairing. Yeah, those two figures are great. Warbird's another good one that I'm excited about. Of course, she's very popular, as we know. Danny Ketch. So maybe okay, just real quickly, I'll go Iron Fist, Luke Cage 1, Danny Ketch, the Ghost Rider bike 2. Then I'll go Superior Spider-Man, Warbird, Astonishing Wolverine, Venom, and then Scar. I'm not the biggest Planet Hulk guy. That's all that is. That's just a character thing, not necessarily a figure thing. What about you, Jay? Real quick.
Wow. I've got to go Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider #1. That has been absolutely anticipated by I think the whole community for absolutely years, almost since the Toy Biz days, to get that proper spiked version of Danny Ketch with the upgraded bike, and we found out what the mystery flame effect was for.
So many guesses.
I don't think a lot of us guessed it was a wheelie effect for our friend Danny Ketch. That was I know Ryan had teased we were going to get one sort of rider style figure this year, but it'd be one we weren't quite expecting. I was like, oh, we all want. Are they going to try and not give us Danny? But you gave us Danny, so I think literally you have utmost community respect for giving us Danny Ketch. So Danny by far #1. #2 is Iron Fist. Again, harking back to because I've been collecting for so long, since the Toy Biz days, the open chest style with the green on of Danny, classic, almost 90s version in that 2-pack. So Danny Ketch for me, definitely taking #2. I like the new head on Luke Cage, so that 2-pack's #2. Astonishing Wolverine takes #3 for me, because I never bought any of the previous versions, again, apart from years ago in Toy Biz days. So to get that, very good. Spider-Man comes in next because of the eye things. I really do like. I know you were saying on the stream it could go either way, so you've given us both options with the eyes, but I really like the reflective. I think that's a fantastic idea. So Spidey definitely comes in next for me. Then probably Scar. I was saying I completely forgot to order Carol earlier, put it in the basket and forgot to check out, and she sold out. So I'll rank her down a bit, and then Venom will have to take the bottom just because we've had more Venoms. But I do like the fact Dan confirmed that is a new head sculpt, the classic one with the teeth. So that has definitely pulled me back in with Venom, because I think that's going to look really good. I do like my classic head sculpts.
Has your favourite already been revealed, Dan, or is it one of the 3 that we haven't officially seen yet?
Oh man, that's tough. Yeah, I have a soft spot for Spider-Man. So I think Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man, again, I really told Matt, like, listen, man, I don't want you to pose it out if you can't hold that position. You know what I mean? And actually playing it in hand, I really like that figure, and I just like the character. The character resonates with me. I will say there are characters that I'm not very drawn to. But in toy form that we haven't revealed yet, that's part of this program. Like, I think they surprised me. Once we reveal all 3, I'll rank them like officially, I guess. But
are we going to be waiting long?
Are we going to be what? Sorry,
waiting long.
I I mean, it depends. What's your definition of long? You know what I mean? What's your definition
Okay,
of?
so we're midway through May. In this point in June, are we going to know everything?
I would say probably yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Like we know the whole lineup as we approach Comic Con and the summer and stuff like that. That's good.
I, I would say, just to be safe, I would say end of June. How's
Okay.
that? End of
Okay.
June.
Okay. We'll let you off. We'll let you off. Let's
Just while we're talking
Go on.
favourites, so just can we reconfirm that, Dan, you've mentioned before that your favourite Wolverine hasn't been revealed yet. Can we reconfirm it's not the Astonishing Wolverine? There's still another
So
Wolverine to come that is your favourite.
So I'll be honest with you. I talked about this on Toy Daddies yesterday too. I think the one that I have in mind, I honestly have not touched yet in my hands, right? And to me, that's very important, right? So when I said that in the fan stream, I still have one in my mind that I don't even think the guys are understanding what I was referring to, because the whole offering is what I like about it. The whole offering.
Okay.
So yeah, I will just leave it at that. The Astonishing Wolverine is a really good Wolverine. I played with that in person, and it just has that same inverted diaphragm cut thing that that even this Venom has, right? And it's so much fun to play with in hand. And it wavers between the one that I haven't talked about and that figure. That Astonishing Wolverine is really good too.
Do you know what's as a collector that's just like, as I said, been in the game for so long, when you release like a desired character like Wolverine with an upgraded body, I'm like, I love it, but now I'm like, well, obviously now I want Jim Lee outfit on it and I want the X-Force on it. Do you know, like now it's just like, it doesn't stop, Dan. It doesn't stop. There's always something like, you think you're happy, but then there's something more. So yeah, that Wolverine, that's probably going to be the best articulated Wolverine we've gotten, to be fair.
I will say that in the pipeline for 2020, like in the future, I think we're gonna have another Wolverine. Like, not so. I guess my point is, we're not just gonna repaint that Astonishing Wolverine body with all the suits that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think there's actually gonna be an even bigger upgrade to Wolverine later on.
Interesting.
Potentially.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I like it. I like that you're showing off the characters that they team up with in the promo now. I know it's like a subtle detail, but like when you showed off Wolverine, you showed him off with the Cyclops and Emma. And because that's what I love about collecting, is the team building. It's what I try and do in my reviews. I show off the comparisons and like, where would you put them in a display? Who do they look best with? Where do they pose with? And I like that you've been adding that to the promo images as well, because it reminds people like, oh, that figures out, or oh, now I need to get that one because now it's going to pair up nicely with this one. I do think that's a nice incentive for the figures. And again, Beast is in that team as well. I'm just saying.
And Kitty and Colossus, I know, I definitely know. I think I really want to shout out our engineer and Ryan Ting and Matt, because like when I asked them, hey, can you get those samples like of the Astonishing team together? They actually have to go through a lot of samples to find those specific figures because they're a little bit older. You know what I mean?
Just give me a call. Whatever you need, Dan. I'll just pull them off the shelf behind me. Whatever you need.
Also, I am not seeing the chat, but hello to the chat. I see that we have like, I think 300 people.
Yeah,
right now.
over 300 people now. Okay, we do have some questions. We can jump to the chat real quick and say hello to the people. Let's press the right button there. There we go. So thank you to the people dropping in some super chats real quick. Mike Hex become a channel member at Who Crew Deluxe. Appreciate that, Mike. Biggest dog ever says, any chance of their straight restocks of the X-Men 97 waves 1 and 2? We can come back to X-Men in a minute, Dan, because I do want to speak about X-Men with you, so we'll come back to that. Sure. Jerry says, Dan Yoon, rank these based on what represents 90s comic Marvel to you. The comics, animated shows, figures, trading cards, games. Can you do a quick ranking?
That's hard. Say that one more time because I can't see it. Animated show.
Comics, animated, figures, cards, or games. So all the different forms of media, essentially.
Oh, I see. So I would say for me, again, if I'm being authentic to who I am, it would be the animated show. Then it would be the comics, because I did read the comics in the library. Then it would be the toys. Then it would be games probably,
Ryan
and then
Ting.
it would be the cards. Brian, this is
Ryan's,
why Brian.
Oh dear,
Ryan's
that's
not
it.
going to be
Carry on
Brian,
now,
happy.
son.
He is
Yeah,
not going to be happy. Tekatechus cosplay, sorry, says, Dan, please get the whole Spider-Man wave with a Spider-Man, a Man Spider builder figure. Yeah, Man Spider would be a great figure. I'm sure we can name you any Spider-Man character, and you would agree they would be great in the Legends line for sure. But
Man Spider was on my list. I'll just remove him.
yeah, man, a deluxe Man Spider would be a great shout. To be fair, it's been a while since we had a deluxe retro card, so that would be a great shout. We've got a. Do you kit bash your figures to make an ultimate version? Says Joey Dan. So Dan, in your own collection, do you swap heads? Do you swap pieces to get your preferred look, or do you just because some people kit bashing's blasphemy, oh no, I can't do that. Whatever comes with the figure is now canon to that figure, and they won't. But do you blur the lines?
I don't think it's blasphemy, but just out of respect to the people, because I know how much work it takes to just put one out. I try not to kit bash, but that doesn't mean that I'm throwing shade or judgment to anybody that kit bashes. I think it makes total sense. It's just I personally don't like to do that. You know what I mean?
I'm quite similar. To be fair, I try not to mix. See, it's the same with everything. I try not to mix lines or mix accessories and stuff like that. I'm very much no, your Marvel Legends that comes with you. Yeah, I'm quite annoying like that. To be fair, this guy says we're so close to completing the new Avengers. We just need a comic Echo and a Ronin. Yeah, I think I knew Echo was Ronin. Spoiler alert, people. So I think a new comic Ronin would be a great shout. To be fair. I've not even seen the Echo show yet on Disney Plus. I'm not going to lie. Have you seen that? Is that any good? I need to watch that. Have you seen it, Jay?
You should watch it. You should watch it.
I've seen it. Yes, there's a few good bits in it. There's definitely a few good bits in it. It's one of those. It's just off towards the end for me, but I really enjoyed the start.
I don't know why I haven't seen it yet, but anyway, all right. Let me go back round to X-Men real quick, because I'm sure Dan knew this would come in. So again, I'm just speaking for the community, Dan. All right, and you posted this tweet recently about unfortunately not being away free this year. That's all it was. Just in summary, just not going to be away free this year. But we just want to clarify to the community that doesn't mean there's never going to be away free, right? Because so far the line is hot, very hot. Of course, some of the figures right now on the aftermarket going up for a pretty penny. So I've had a few questions asking about potential of restocks, the potential of away free. So in regards to X-Men 97, I'm sure like most people in the chat, Dan, you've enjoyed it, you've watched it. Give us your thoughts on the show first and foremost before we talk about the figures. Obviously no spoilery, but just your general thoughts on if you've enjoyed the show, and then we can get into the potential of away free maybe.
Yeah, so starting off with the show, I really love the show. I think it's not the perfect show by any means, to be honest with you. I think if I'm really being critical about the show itself, I would love to have had a couple more episodes where the pacing was a little bit slower, right? I think sometimes so quick. That's my only real criticism of it. As far as how it's keeping, if I'm being real, please don't quote me on this, but it's really keeping the Marvel fandom alive, I think, right? Yeah. Because this is the hottest thing right now, and it just gives me so much joy to see the potential of a kid. Maybe this is his gateway, just like the 92 show was the gateway for me into Marvel, you know what I mean?
Well, most people in 92 are now parents to kids, introducing them to X-Men through this, yeah.
And I think that opportunity is so beautiful. And for me, I would convince my wife, who is she likes Marvel, she loves Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and stuff like that, but she was never into the X-Men ever. Yeah. But she would be waking up at 6:30 with me to be all right, let's watch X-Men 97. And for me, that connection point, that communal aspect of it is so beautiful. And I met Bo DeMaio too, really briefly in San Diego Comic Con, and everybody who's part of creating that show, I think deserves so much credit. I think episode 5, remember it? It's that really touched me. It wasn't even I guess
I know animated characters, right? And you feel something that.
Yeah.
Sure,
I felt something, man.
Yeah, I get it.
I shed a tear. I'm not right to admit, I shed a tear. It's phenomenal. It really was.
So now let's talk about the toys.
Yes.
So just to give context too, the show did change, and that's not to throw shade to anybody else either. The show schedule did change, and originally Wave 1 was aligned up to a certain time frame when it was supposed to come out.
Yep.
The show date changed multiple times too.
It did. Yeah.
And again, not to throw shade at anybody else, we are limited in what we know about the story, and we are limited in terms of what concepts we get too. So we are not able to capitalize always on what we can do, right?
Of course.
And yeah, we thought 2 waves dedicated to X-Men 97 was going to be pretty good, right? Which we typically don't do, right? Even with a new movie, we only do maybe 1 whole wave, right?
Yeah.
So to dedicate 2 waves on itself is really a testament of how much our team really wanted to push to make X-Men 97 something. But after seeing the show, we would text each other and be like, hey, we got to put this in. So just to confirm, we are not stopping with the line, right? There's going to be more X-Men 97. And I'm not saying that you might see something at the end of the year about X-Men 97 too, right? I'm not saying, I'm just saying that Wave 3 will not be physically in your hands this year. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I just wanted to be transparent too, because everybody was DMing me like after every episode being like, oh, you're going to make this character, you're going to make that character now.
Put Morph has done you because Morph being able to do what he does has just made your list like 10 times longer than it should have been, because that guy has been changing it up every episode as well.
He's OP now though.
Yeah, right? Honestly, how is he not the most powerful mutant ever now? For sure, yeah. Yeah, definitely OP for sure. Yeah, I think a Wave 3 writes itself. To be fair as well, me and Rich have been preaching the same message, as in like the show got delayed plenty of times, so it's hard for you guys to line up, and you still did well to get 2 figures out, 2 full waves out. But again, it's just a testament to how much people are enjoying these and enjoying the show. It's just a positive thing. People wanting more is only a positive thing. Like, again, it's not like people are like, oh, what a waste of a wave, like we got a second wave, no one wanted that. Like, no, like I enjoyed just being a toy like fan and being involved in the toy community. I actually quite enjoyed seeing certain figures sell out after particular episodes, or like get more desirable after particular episodes, because as a toy collector we all have that sort of sickness, if you will, where as soon as we watch something we enjoy, we're like, okay, how can I get this in physical form, in action figure on my shelf? Do you know, like, no matter what you watch. So the fact that Marvel Legends were already doing it, people are doing exactly that. They're like, oh, okay, now I need that. Now the show being so good has only reinforced the fact that people want to go back and get these figures. But I'm just saying, Dan, like, as well as you did, right, that was all praise. Some big gaps there as well, Dan, all right? Big blue furry gaps. Just saying.
We're gonna delay that one just for you.
Jay, you're gonna be on the show on your own next week. Just me and Rich are gonna be retired. Yeah,
you'll be stuck with her. Can I just ask? Are we? You probably don't know if you can potentially answer this, but I know we've had all these different X-Men figures across the years on different packaging designs, and Dan's done a stream before. Like, we haven't got the classic like Jim Lee looks all on one packaging design for a mint on card collector. So with X-Men 97, are we locked in for this future design for these cards, or could they be mixed into a regular wave, into 2 packs, or is this always going to be this form factor of this like X-Men blister card for 97 stuff?
So I think as far as a wave configuration, if it's in a wave, definitely I think we're going to keep it in that same configuration in the blister form. That being said, that does not preclude us from doing stuff on the orange card or the purple card. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that also is very I just want to be transparent. Like, we are able to do some certain characters on the orange card at the same time simultaneously. So if you're, because I know Dan has that chart of like,
I'm looking for it, mate. There you go. I found it. There we go.
I know he wants us to build that out.
Just complete one row, Dan. We're playing the X-Men bingo right now, all right? So, like, let me just scream bingo at the top of my lungs. Just complete one team in the same format, for the love of God. Collectors, it's the small detail that collectors appreciate, because you get close. It's like you're teasing us. Like, you get close. You're like, oh, here's like 5 characters. But now we're going to switch up the format and start again. And it's like, no, like, we're so close, Dan. Just one of them. Just please, just one of them.
And to be honest with you, like we're not maliciously trying to just tease you guys out. I think there's just so many stakeholders that are behind the scenes too when it comes to making one character decision, to be honest with you, and how the packaging goes and things of that nature. So yeah, I mean, I can guarantee that more X-Men will be made in the future, especially from X-Men 97, and it doesn't preclude other variations. I think the only exclusion to be transparent right now is we probably won't look at the 92 VHS boxes for a little bit, just because it causes a little bit of a confusion to the consumers there too. So I think that's the only exclusion I would say. I don't know, Jay, if that answered your question at all, so I apologize for that.
No, it did.
No, it's good to get a debate on the whole sort of carded situation. Yeah, so I think that did. Yeah,
I just like sarcastically leaning into things. Like I just think I'm only one person's perspective. There's a big, massive portion of collectors that are laughing at me right now because they just open up all their figures and throw the packaging in the trash. So it makes no difference what format they figures get in as long as the figures arrive. Do you know, like, so I'm only speaking for a tiny section of the community. I just like dialing it up for to make myself laugh. But yeah, it is one of those little bugbears where I'm like, so close, so close. I told you, like, I've started to put figures on this wall now, Dan. I've got Iron Man over there. I've got the
look at that.
Like, I just yeah, I'm trying to just slowly. The ceiling's going to be the only place left. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I do love the card backs, and I like how this is the next generation. Like maybe in 20 years' time, there's going to be a kid that was watching X-Men 97 with their parents, and then they're going to be nostalgic about these figures, and the circle of life continues. Do you know what I mean? Like, all is good. Because I always panic that, like, as the new generation comes in and everyone's on computer games and playing computer games, that the toys love is just going to fade away and it just be a memory. So we just got to enjoy the now. But no, I'm loving the line, loving the show, and I'm glad to see that or hear it all will continue, which we all assumed it would, but it's always good to hear it officially from you guys.
I did want to bring up another point that you did briefly mention too, and I brought it up to the Toy Daddy's podcast as well. So I think it's fair if I just say it too, but I am also aware of the demand for reruns of reissues of Wolverine and other characters from the earlier waves as well. It's not an easy just like flip of a switch, to be honest with you. There are a lot of stakeholders when it comes to making even just reissues. And I know that's not what everybody wants to hear, but just know that, like, transparently, you know, we see that demand, and it would be stupid of us to not try to capitalize on something like that, right, as well. Just know that, you know, even a reissue takes 13 months basically to develop. So it takes patience, but I know that it's good to have this problem because it shows that the entertainment's working and that there is demand there for the toys. So just know that, you know, we hear you about that as well, and we see it. And yeah, if we get more updates on that, we will let you know. You know what I mean?
It just happened for us in the UK regarding the Into the Spider-Verse figures. For a long time, Spider-Punk, Miles, Spider-Man 2099 were really hard to get, crazy money on the aftermarket. And they've just been restocked in certain places in the UK, just at normal retail. So it shows that the certain characters will come out if you're patient. Yeah, I think certain, like Wolverine for sure, Rogue, even Gambit now is getting hard to find. And I'm sure Magneto will be next, and then Storm, and then Bishop.
I'm telling you, man, when we made this decision to make 2 Magnetos and 2 waves, like, I honestly thought, just personally, because I'm just like one voice in the room, I was like, why are we doing this, right? Like, why I want another character. I don't need 2 Magnetos. And I'm biased because I did not like Magneto growing up, right? But after seeing the show, he has like the best bars of the whole show.
Oh,
you know
what
I mean?
He's
like,
the main character. He's
best bars.
Yeah.
And I was just like, thank God we made 2 Magnetos. Like, honestly.
He's the one I kept on card just because, he's nailed it in the show, isn't he?
Yeah, I like it. I like it when you got like the accessories you can. Again, talking about kit bashing earlier, even though those unmasked heads come with the sort of headmaster Magneto, they absolutely pop and work on the regular Magneto. You can get him to hold his helmet and just mix it up the display. I always say to people, when it comes to displaying and world building, there's no rules. Everyone's collection is different. Everyone's like there is no right or wrong in how you display your figures. It's your preference, and yeah, everything we can see on screen right now is absolutely fair game, and people are just excited to see more. So yeah, I'm glad to get that clarification that you guys are on the same page. It's not like you're pausing it. It's just these things take time, and yeah, our patience will be rewarded with more X-Men 97 figures. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. That's for sure. That's for sure. Let me bounce back.
What characters do you guys want to see in the future wave?
Well, Beast is an obvious one. I'll have to say Jubilee for Rich, considering he is not here. But just throwing a few obvious ones out there, because it's quite clear that the couple of waves you did were based off like maybe the first 3 or 4 episodes. It's like then after that, new characters started to appear. So I think characters that were in those initial few episodes would have to be a layup, like Morph, of course. Morph, Jubilee, Beast, Sunspot, but which version of Sunspot? Maybe 2 versions of Sunspot now, because if you know, you know. And then, as I said, every Morph cameo there is, like this last episode.
Get the Bastion.
Yeah, Bastion, yeah, of course.
Gotta get the Bastion in there.
But all the cameos as well, that gives you fair game. Do you know, like, you and me must be very happy with a particular cameo from the last episode. Again, no spoilers for anybody. Cameos are not a spoiler, but there was a particular cameo in the last episode that I was very pleasant. It just made me more excited to see something else, actually.
I feel like if we are thinking about the same people, I feel like there was a third person in that shot that people are not picking up, or maybe they have and I just haven't seen it. But I feel like
I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, 3 people on screen, same time. Yeah. Really, just a brief cameo, but like that cameo was like made me think, oh, okay, there's more to that. So yeah, I'm excited, and the show's obviously now going to continue. So yeah, more just to sum up that X-Men 97 conversation. Dan, you can confirm there will be more X-Men 97 figures at some point.
At some point, yeah.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, that's all. I think that it's just that's what people want to hear, isn't it? Is they just want to hear that, like, that reassurance that these things are coming at some point. I just want to go to the chat and get a couple more questions, but I don't want to take too much of your time, Dan. I do appreciate you've just finished work due to time zones. This is, again, 191 episodes, and this is the first time you've been on this show. But it's because of time zones, let's be honest. Like, stupid time zones. Right, let's go back to the chat a second. So thank you, everyone, super chatting. Jamie, our friend, he says, what about Goose Rider and Hippo 2-pack? Yeah, that his like Goose Rider is our friend Jamie's version of Hippo. Do you know, like, any opportunity, Goose Rider. So there you go, Jamie, Goose Rider. Andy says, cannot stay at work. We'll catch this later. All Dan's are super awesome. Jay is awesome. Thank you all. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. Tac Tac Toy says, my idea is X-Men animated 2-packs alternative timeline. Shut up. Tac Tac. See, that's what happens when you read stuff online. What alternative timelines? Tac Tac. Any chance of more Pulse exclusive army builders like the Kree? That's a fun question, Dan. I'm sure you'd like to do more army builders in the future. They're always popular. But you just have to promise me this, Dan, all right? If you ever do an upgraded version of the Hellfire Goon, that first phone call's got to be to me, Dan. All right? Has to be to me. I don't care what the community say. Just like a saxophone accessory, just for no reason, just to confuse every Marvel fan ever. I don't know, but army builders, there's still plenty of potential out there, right?
I think there is a demand for army builders for sure. Whether or not it be through Pulse only or something else, but you know, I think you guys know, I take what the community says very seriously too. So if there's like a high demand for an upgraded Hellfire Goon or something like that, or another army builder that we're not thinking of that you think makes the most sense, like, you know, let us know. The more the community talks about it in all the places that we look at, you know, that's another insight that we can bring and leverage to all the stakeholders when it comes to character decisions. So there is an army builder that definitely is a demand from you guys. Just let us know as much as you can.
VJ asks a question. Thank you very much, GJ. Says, updated Jim Lee Psylocke on the new Warbird book. Yeah, that's, again, like I was saying earlier with the Wolverines, you know, as soon as you release a new body type, all the ideas come out for, what cutouts could be on that body type. Is it pretty confident to say that we will see more female characters utilizing that new highly articulated body in the future? In the near future, maybe?
In the future, definitely.
Okay,
in the future.
Okay.
In the future.
Yeah, Warbird's not here yet, to be fair, so we'll let you off. But the Psylocke's a good. Psylocke's a good one. Elektra's another good one. You upgraded. You gave us a new Elektra actually in the white in that free pack with those great head sculpts. To be fair, yeah. But a red version of Elektra now on that body would be a great shout. Brush says different colours used for the same character in each release. Using the same colour would help swapping parts to create ideal look. X-Men yellow and blues, Spider-Man blues and reds. To be fair, I don't think you do that bad of a job on that. Like the last X-Men free packs you got, like they're on the shelf behind me, and they look great. They look great. So I don't know what Rush is referring to specifically there, but I'm sure people like Dwight and the people making these toys are aware of matching colours to other characters that have already come out in the same team or something like that, right?
Yeah, we try to be cognizant of that as much as possible. I think with the 3-packs, we're missing. Who are we missing? We're missing a couple of characters from the iconic cover, right?
Yeah, the Uncanny X-Men
275. Yeah. And the conflict with that one too is that if you see the cover and the inside panels of some of those characters, they're kind of different. So it's going to be interesting if we ever finish up that cover, which ones we do, if that makes sense. So I leave that all up to Dwight and, you know, our partners with Disney. Shout out to our partners at Marvel and Disney, especially like Jesse Falcon. He's like the godfather. We work with him almost every single day. He's awesome. And he kicks my butt all the time sometimes too, but I love him to death.
Another question mentioning AOA, so I thought since it's you, Dan, I have to mention it. Please, an updated AOA Nemesis. The old one is too expensive on the aftermarket. Nemesis is an old Hasbro Builder figure, if I remember correctly. But yeah, more AOA characters. No matter where you pop up talking toys, AOA gets brought up for sure. And you're well aware there are more AOA designs that need to sneak their way into the line. I'm sure you're breakdancing in boardrooms trying to make that happen already, right?
Yeah, I think me and Jesse are the ones that are really pushing AOA in the breakdance battles for that. I actually think that we've convinced Ryan that AOA Gambit, because he's a sucker for Gambit and Rogue. Yeah. So I think I might persuade a vote for AOA Gambit at least. Maybe not a whole wave, but maybe
just say his AOA Rogue looks lonely. To be fair, she ran us with Magneto in that, didn't she? So maybe. I think some of the popular ones are like Nightcrawler, and Gambit for sure. Again, I used to joke that I didn't like AOA, but for opposite reason to you, as I said, the animated Jim Lee looks were my X-Men, and like but at the same time that was on the cartoon in the comic stores, it was AOA. So I used to always be annoyed that like what was on the comic wasn't my X-Men, because I'm like, that's not what's on the telly. Do you know, like I wasn't aware of what was going on in the stories at the time. But you were the opposite. You actually read AOA in the libraries, you said, right?
Yeah, so like for me, that discrepancy, like initially I was just like, oh, this pissed me off a lot too. But then it made me so interested in the story of like, why is there such a difference, right? I thought it would be all consistent at one point, and it just made me fall in love with that saga.
Yeah, like, I've grew to appreciate it, Dan, as you know. I've got all the figures. Dan did say he'd stop making Marvel Legends if I didn't buy all the figures, but yeah, I've got them all for sure. I have grew to appreciate it, to be fair. So it's that alternative timeline for me. So fair game on the shelf. A few random ones. I'm just going to read these ones out, Dan. Don't feel like you need to comment on them. Pitching for a Morgan Lee Fry and a Zach Builder figure. I'm not too sure what that is. More Marvel Animals. Hasbro is making awesome ones. X-Man on the Vulcan mold would be cool, says Tac. Matt says, I would love to see a Shatari and Outrider. Yeah, more. That's something people always have that debate between MCU and comic and what they collect, or there's always like a debate where people feel like you have to pick a side, and I'm like, have you not seen my shelves? I love both. But yeah, Shatari would be a great shout. Has it been, I know this is probably an awkward question, but has it been awkward for you guys, or frustrating for you guys, that the MCU moved loads of things around with the movies and stuff. Because I can imagine you would have great ideas for stuff, but then have to pull it back or whatnot. So is that frustrating? Because I think this year's Deadpool, but then Deadpool was moved forward, and this year we've definitely seen more comic figures than we have movie figures. But that doesn't mean you don't have movie figures up your sleeve, right?
So I will say, like, I think frustrating is kind of harsh. I think I love working with Jesse and the Marvel partners that we have, and it's just a luxury just to, work with them. It is a challenge. It is somewhat challenging, and it makes you become very resilient. And change is always on the horizon, so it keeps us on our toes. I think depending on when the change happens, it affects on how quickly we could come up with something up our sleeve or a backup or anything like that. So it's really dependent on when the changes occur.
Yep.
But even with some changes, sometimes, like, I think even if it's considered a backup in terms of order, sometimes that turns out to be even better than what we originally planned. So it's a blessing to work with Marvel again. And even though things change, it's just keeping us on our toes. That's all. You know what I mean?
As a fan, are you genuinely excited for Wolverine and Deadpool? Like,
yeah, we actually have a bunch of business meetings that we have to present, and I had this idea of, like, taking the trailer and just putting, Dwight and Ryan and myself and incorporating it into the trailer for the to kick off the business meeting. You know what I mean? And then, like, we cut it so that in the meeting it would go, let's effing go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so me and Ryan, like, jumped on stage just as, like, they were jumping into the ring, and we were like, let's freaking go. And that's how we, like, kicked off the business meeting.
Getting their attention for sure, doing it that way.
Sounds more fun than my board meetings today. My goodness.
Yeah, it's one of those meetings where you have to hype up, like, the regions and the sales teams and stuff like that. So it was fun. I'm excited. I'm like worried though, because
I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
It's coinciding exactly with San Diego Comic Con, right? And I think people don't understand how much work San Diego Comic Con is. It's lovely to be there, but me and Ryan and Dwight are literally there, standing, trying to talk to as many people as possible. And I really don't think we're gonna be able to see Deadpool when it comes out, unless, like, somebody can reserve tickets for us. But I'm sure by that time,
get free lookalikes, get them a Hasbro t-shirt, and, like, just see if you can sneak off.
I mean, yeah, I really think by the time I get to see it, all the spoilers are going to be out. All the things are going to be leaked out anyway. So I'm kind of sad about that. But yeah, I can't wait for the movie.
I thought you were going in the direction of similar to what happened with Spider-Man. It's like, you guys genuinely don't know what's happening, but as soon as people are out of the theater, they're messaging, tweeting you, going, I need this, I need that, I need this. And you're like, I've only just seen this myself. Like, people are going to expect the figures straight away, Dan. They're going to, as soon as they come out of the cinema, they want to come back and buy them. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm going to get those comments. I'm going to get so many of those comments now that I'm thinking about it. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, they're very nice. A familiar face has popped up in the chat. It is our good friend Brandon. It says, Akuna Matata. Thank UK fans and our global team. And last one from Mike Tactex says, Exodus on the Vulcan mold. I'm an AOA guy as well. So there you go. There are some AOA fans out there for sure.
Shout out to both of those guys.
I don't want to take up too much more of your time, Dan, but I do massively appreciate you coming on. So we'll wrap up by talking about the reason that you're popping on today. And that is, of course, to plug MCM next weekend. So again, from the 24th to the 26th of May, I myself will be at MCM, but that is not the reason to come. The reason to come is to go and check out the In Demand Toys booth, where they'll be showing off brand new Marvel Legends. And when we say brand new, again, Dan was saying earlier, the Zabu Build-A-Figure wave, that's not even at retail yet. You've got the Iron Man Retro wave, which is slowly hitting you guys over there in the US. I've seen a few friends showing it off. Yeah, really looking forward to get Whiplash. Finally called Whiplash on the packaging as well, finally. Was that a debate, by the way, between you guys to call him Backlash or Whiplash? Did you actually have that conversation?
We didn't have a conversation about the name, but I did want to persuade them to maybe put it as, like, the blue color, because I really love the old one, the old Toy Biz one, which was blue, not black.
Yeah.
So I was trying to like persuade Dwight, maybe, is there any opportunity to make it blue? But we went with the black instead.
Yeah, no, I just remember it. I've always been confused of why he was called the wrong thing, but you've made it right. You've made it right. But yeah, In-Demand Toys will also be showing off the 85th anniversary line. So again, just a select handful, but I'm sure they're going to be very excited about it. Yeah, the new upper body, like the upper body for that bigger body as well. So you've got the crunch at the waist and then the ball joint at the top of the torso. Like, I do think people are going to really appreciate that Venom, because people really like the 3-pack Venom. And now you can get it single packed with the upgrades as well, which I think people are going to appreciate. But yeah, one last look at some of the 85th anniversary stuff. Yeah, again, next weekend, people, we can see them in hand, and then just be eager to get them in our own hands, in our collections for sure. Yeah, Dan, as I said, you've got three more officially. I think if you got your ears to the ground, I'm sure there's some people out there that may have already figured out what a couple are. There are a few clues out there, Dan. There are a few clues out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sorry, my camera has been very out of focus these days, but I don't want to ruin Brandon's surprise, but I do believe some stuff that we didn't mention will also be potentially at MCM too.
See?
So please stay tuned. Check out MCM London next week with In-Demand Toys, because I do think Brandon might have something up his sleeve too to maybe show off something that we haven't showed off yet. So it might be the first time, Dan, you might see something in person that might be cool.
That would be very cool for sure. Yeah, and then hopefully Dan or Ryan or someone can come down in the winter as well, in October, and we can chat some Marvel Legends then as well. Because
if I go back, I want to catch a game, man. We got to catch Arsenal game, not Chelsea, not Man U. Sorry, but
I told you the ideal situation, Dan, would be Arsenal Chelsea that same weekend. Because then I really will hire some lookalikes for you, so you can disappear for a little bit. That would happen.
I appreciate it.
Before you get out of here, then I will ask you, what are your do you genuinely think Arsenal will take have any chance? Like, I know what your heart thinks, but what did your head say? Man City, best team in the world, just need to win a game.
I think that I live by my heart, and I just want to say my heart is telling me we're gonna win 1-0. And yeah, like,
if you win, you just need a draw. Yeah, you just need a draw.
West Ham, they could park the bus. You know what I mean? They park the bus all the time. They could park the bus, and well, I just want to tie. It's all West Ham.
big West Ham fan this week. A big West Ham fan.
Let City win again.
I thought your boy's son would actually.
Oh my God!
So close.
So I was in a meeting when, because I was watching on the side when Sonny had that 1-on-1. Oh my God! I almost flipped out during a meeting. I was like, oh.
He nicked the ball off a Kanji, went 1-on-1 with the sub keeper, but he pulled off a Martinez and did the same save that he did in the World Cup final.
I know.
Yeah, so close. But still, one game left. It's not all over yet. Again, I'm a Chelsea fan, so we're on the rebuild. I'll just keep my mouth shut until we get a little bit better. But Cole Palmer, by the way,
man.
I don't know if you've been paying attention, but yeah, Cole Palmer, cool Cole Palmer.
But that's crazy. That's crazy how Pep let him go.
Look, his loss is our gain. Honestly, I don't know. Phil Foden's obviously keeping him out of the team, but imagine a team with Phil Foden and Cole Palmer on either side, and then you got Haaland in the middle. Pep's loss.
That's crazy.
But Dan, as I said, we could spend another 2 hours talking about football, but we'll let you get out of here. But thank you so much for joining us today. Always great to have you on. And after 191 episodes, Dan, we finally got you on the main Thursday show, so we appreciate that so much. Anything you want to say before you get out of here?
Yeah, I just want to shout out to everybody in the community. Honestly, again, Marvel Legends is nothing without this community, this action figure collecting community. And I wanted to give a shout out to, the UK fans specifically. Please check out MCM London next week. Go to In-Demand Toys area, and you'll see some really cool Marvel Legends there. Say hi to Brandon. Maybe check out Dan. And
distract Brandon for me. Distract him for me while I can nick all the new Legends. That'll be great. Thanks.
Yeah, and let's go Arsenal. Let's fucking go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go. Jay, what about yourself?
Well, have we presented the winner of the poll to Dan?
Oh, okay, that's a good point.
As
Actually,
our final sort of main event here, because we have been doing that serious market research
yeah,
for
that's
Dan.
true. That's
So
true.
we've come up with the most wanted 85th character.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, so
let's see.
for the last 3 weeks, me and Rich, celebrating Marvel's 85th anniversary, we actually went through every decade and plucked some characters from each decade and celebrated the whole anniversary as the full 85 years. And each week, the stream would end with an ultimate winner, basically. So we had the 3 winners, where if I can find my image... where's it gone? Let me grab it back up. Yeah, we got 3 winners, and then today we actually found out the most wanted. So at least from my little channel, this is definitely the most wanted figure. So the 3 winners from out the 3 streams were Bucky Barnes, Rachel Summers, and then Armor from obviously Astonishing X-Men onwards, which we do think. We do give you the benefit of the doubt that would be like good luck Dwight and the team on that one. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not an easy figure to create, do you know? So, but they were the 3 winners. So today we polled to see what the audience thought was the most wanted Marvel legend throughout the 85 years. What do you reckon the community went with?
Oh, I think knowing your crowd, probably. I'm gonna go Rachel. Hopefully, Rachel.
Yeah, you're bang on the money, my friend. Yeah, Rachel Summers took with over 50% of the vote as well. So, yeah, so out of all this, literally 3 weeks, me and Rich have been deep diving into 85 years of Marvel. We talked about tons of characters, but these were the 3 that won each week. And today, Rachel Summers took it. So take that back with you to the office, Dan, all right? Put her up on your board, whatever you need to do. Do a little breakdance, spin on your head, whatever you need to do, right? Rachel Summers, the community have spoken. That's what they want, all right? Excalibur repping, of course. We need the Hound version, please. Thank you very much and good night.
All right, man. Peace out, guys. Thanks, guys, for having me. And yeah, I'll bring it up to our team, and we'll see what happens. Jay, nice meeting you, man. Appreciate it.
Nice one. Right.
Yes, yep. Thank you, Dan, for having me on. Yes, great to meet you, Dan. And yes, hopefully more to come.
Yeah, so if you jump out, Dan, I'll wrap up the stream with the chat. And but it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
All right. Peace out, boys.
Nice one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
See you later.
There we go. So thank you very much to Dan for joining us. Thank you very much to people tolerating our brief football talk. If you are not a fan of football, but again, I could speak to Dan about the Premier League for a good while. Go and check out the last stream we did, actually, where we did talk about football quite a lot. But today was all about the toys, and obviously plug in demand toys next weekend at MCM Comic Con. So yes, please do shout out in demand toys. And yeah, that made me excited, actually. Him saying that Brandon may have something new to be shown.
You do not know about.
Exactly.
Yes, okay.
Something brand new, which we thought they were going to be showing off stuff we hadn't seen yet, but the potential of a possible reveal at MCM does sort of up the stakes a little bit for me.
I might have to skip my 1-year-old niece's birthday party that day and get in the car.
Yeah. So make a trip of it, people. But there you go. From the 24th to the 26th of May, which is next weekend, XL Centre London. Same place as the winter version, but Hasbro will be at In-Demand Toys rather than their own booth. So a smaller section, but still showing off new toys from Star Wars, Transformers, and Marvel Legends. All the same. And as Dan just teased, potentially something brand new, which is very exciting. But I'm still excited to see the 85th anniversary stuff anyway. I genuinely I know it just looks like I'm arse licking sometimes, but I genuinely do think the 85th anniversary line is fire, and the bar has been raised.
It's been a very good line, because I say, when I was doing my reaction stream to that, because I try and go on literally directly after them, and that was the most people I'd ever had waiting to start a live stream, and it was a really good chat there. So it's very unusual to see. I think they've really pulled it back this year because I think a lot of people were down on Marvel last year, but I think 2024 is definitely, with some of these lines, bringing it back. Now we're getting more pinless and really, really strong upgrades to these characters.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited. So, okay, before we get out of here, then I just want to plug, again, no after show tonight because of our guest, Dan. We had to stream a little bit later than usual, and the missus will kill me if I'm not off in a minute. But I do want to say, Legends and Liquor is this weekend, all right? So you know the score. If you are a channel member at the Members Club tier or higher, you can be a guest on Legends and Liquor this Sunday, the 19th of May. Again, come and talk some toys. We talk pickups. We talk toy news. It is genuinely just a fun virtual hangout talking toys. I'm sure you've seen the show. I hope you've seen the show. But me and Jay will be there talking toys. Me and Jay may also Well, we're going to go to Toy Fair in Sandown on Saturday as well. So if anyone in the UK is going to Toy Fair in Sandown in London, we have not been before. We've never been to Sandown in London, so we have no idea what it's going to be like or what to expect. I'm on the hunt for some more Spider-Man retro cards. So yeah, we shall see. So me and Joe will be there.
Yeah, I'm on the hunt for Marvel Lego minifigures now, apparently.
Oh, bloody hell. Bloody hell. I watched your Lord of the Rings thing, but we'll talk about the Lego nonsense on Sunday for sure. But before you get out of here, Jay, tell the people where they can find you online.
You can find me right here on YouTube. It's on my chest somewhere at Jay's Toy Collection UK. Follow the pink logo. Toy live streams every other Friday, the opposite week to Legends and Liquor, 9 p.m. UK for This Week in Toys, as we play all sorts of quizzes, as I get the female perspective on action figure collecting, as the missus joins and has no clue what she's talking about.
It's always fun, though, to be fair. The Price's Wife, right, you were calling it?
The Price's Wife, yes. Go and check that episode out if you haven't. She does try and guess the action figure prices and how much we spend on toys.
Right, let me just put your, before we get out of here, actually put your channel into the chat so people can see it for themselves. Right, there you go. You got no excuse, people. Go and click it. Go and subscribe to Jay's Toy Collection UK. You've met the guy now. There he is. He's on screen, but he is the super substitute when Rich is off gallivanting, chasing girl bands from the 90s around the country.
While he's chasing girl bands, I've got to remember the poll.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Now we've sent that Rachel Summers message back to Hasbro. I'm sure Dan will be breakdancing for it. But yeah, go and subscribe to Jay's Toy Collection UK. But we will see you Sunday, all right, for Legend and Liquor. We appreciate everyone joining. Thank you, everyone, for dropping in their chats for Dan. And again, thank you very much for Dan for actually showing up today. Again, 191 episodes. And for the first time, we've got one of them on the main show because of those damn time differences. But I appreciate everyone being here all the same, all right? So, Jay, thank you for jumping in. Thank you to Dan. Thank you to everyone in the chat. If you want to jump on the show, DM me if you want to be on Legend of Liquor. DM me now. I'm going to start putting my list together. About 18 guests, I think I can usually do. So, yeah, be one of those 18 and come and sort some toys on the stream. I can see the chat are still jumping away as well. So thank you very much to everyone in the chat. I can see Tariq. We've got Kenny, Compulsive Collector, Kevin, Mike Hex, Prophet, the Watcher, who was watching the stream, you know. Jamie was in about... Jamie, I mentioned Goose Rider for you, so I'm sure Dan took a mental note. And the Wolfpack says, I'm not a fan of soccer. What soccer? I have no idea. We don't play soccer in the UK. That's as much as I can tell you. Jay, give him a wave. We're out of here. What's the word of the day, Jay?
Word of the day. We need a quick word of the day.
Quick. MCM. There you go. MCM. Put MCM in the comments. Let me know if you're actually coming in the comments below. And again, let's come and hang out and talk toys in person. It's always fun. And this community is real people, all right? We're real people. Come and say hello to us, all right? I'll see you on Legend of Liquor.